What's up, guys? Welcome back to TK Experience. Today's a very, very special episode, and I'm excited to introduce our new guest because for the first time ever, we have a guest on this podcast, and it's something new that Tom and I have been talking about, and we're just very excited to talk about it. So, Tom, please introduce our guest.
So everyone, you may know him. This is Junior Duffault. So Junior, why don't you just give us some background information? Tell us where you're from, what your major is, and stuff like that.
All right, yeah. I'm Junior, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, but I was raised in Reading, Pennsylvania. My major is health and physical education. I'm in my third year in the program.
So Junior, you're from Reading. I grew up in the Lehigh Valley, so not too far from you. I went to Mass High School, and yeah. So tell us where you go and what sports you played in high school and stuff like that.
Right. So I went to Muhlenberg High School. Obviously, we're like 40 minutes away from each other, not too far. I played football, ran track in the winter and in the spring. I played basketball my freshman year of high school, but after moving schools, I stopped playing basketball just to focus on track a lot more. So yeah, that's what I did.
What was that like, just doing all those different sports, being a dual trial athlete? What was it like just balancing school and also just maintaining that high school life?
Oh, dude, honestly, it was a lot easier in high school because it was like natural. I felt like everyone had like what they did in the fall and what they did in like winter or the spring, so it just kind of felt natural just 'cause everyone else was doing it. As far as it like balancing it, I didn't do it the best. I would skim all my homework. I wasn't the best at school. Athletics kind of just like paved the way for me.
So Junior, why don't you tell us? You had a great high school career. How did you end up coming to Westchester?
So I ended up coming to Westchester just because when I realized like I wasn't able to go to Division 1 with my grades and my SAT scores, I wanted to stay closer to like home. I didn't want to leave the state. I knew out of state tuition would be a hassle for my parents. So I found somewhere in state. I visited all the PSAC schools. When I came to Westchester, it had a Division 1 atmosphere. Everyone was like great people. It seemed like everyone was like really inviting. I came to a football game and they smoked Seton Hall. A freshman scored a touchdown. I think when I saw a freshman, Seth, his name's Seth the Green, when I saw him score a touchdown as a freshman, I was kind of like, nah, this is where I gotta be. Like, a freshman just scored. I gotta come.
It's perfect. Yeah.
So what other schools did you visit? You mentioned you visited some in PSAC. What were some other choices that you were actually considering about?
So I visited Shippensburg, East Stroudsburg, Millersville. I didn't take my visits to Bloom, Slip, Gannon, Clarion. I didn't take those visits because I had committed right before.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's pretty amazing. So when you mentioned you came to Westchester, you saw the visit. It was the atmosphere you were looking for. Apart from that, what really sold it to you? Because I know that athletics is a big thing, and sometimes we'll go to school just pure off the sport. But what else did you see about Westchester that you were like, you know what, this feels like it's my new home?
Well, so I knew my guidance counselor. She had taught me, and I wanted to be an education major. Always wanted to be a teacher and work with like the youth in some way, shape, or form. She told me like having an education degree from Westchester was like having a golden ticket in the education field, just because there's not a lot of degrees that hold the same.
Yeah.
So that was big.
Yeah, so all three of us, we went through the COVID years. We had our senior year of high school completely ruined, and then we had our freshman year completely ruined of college. So I feel like our class got it one of the worst out of everyone.
No, that's for
So
sure.
why don't you just tell the audience, how did we initially meet you, and what was that kind of like? What kind of atmosphere was it like our freshman year?
So our freshman year, we all lived on South Campus.
Yeah.
So that's when that second semester when they let everyone come back. Living on South Campus, it was so cool. It was snowing and we were like sliding snowball fights. Classes were online, so it was so crazy because it's like we went from living in our parents' houses and like having to like answer to somebody to like living in our own apartments with like guys our age. It was like
complete freedom, right?
Yeah, it was insane. We skipped the whole dorm thing. It's like you have like an RA like hanging out, walking down the halls every day. It was like you went from your mom's house to your own apartment.
Yeah,
and it was crazy. So like I know we all met like based on like all of us like being on campus and trying to meet new people, and I know we all clicked because we had that same kind of background being athletes. So that was real cool. But yeah, it's great that we were able to come back and all like be on campus even throughout COVID, just because people were going crazy at home.
Yeah,
and to be able to get here is just like I don't know. I felt like I got a kickstart on my adult life compared to everyone else who was at home that semester.
Yeah, it is a crazy transition coming from high school to college, and you do learn a lot about yourself over these entire 4 years, even though they've gone by very quickly. What would you say is one of like the biggest changes from high school and living at home to then living on your own, being a college student while playing a sport? How do you kind of transition and open up into the real world kind of?
Oh man, I think my whole life I kind of just like rolled with the punches kind of thing, and I don't want to say that's what I did with college, but I feel like my support system, as far as like my counselors from school, they kind of like set me up and just like told me what to expect. And at first I didn't believe them when they told me like what to expect, but it all kind of fell into place. I think the transition was still hard. It's never easy. It's never easy to go from being at your mom's house and not knowing about any bills to like going to the dorms and like when your meal plan runs out. Like, yo,
Yeah.
that might have been the hardest thing. Like when my meal plan ran out, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't working. Like I was like, what do you mean my meal plan ran
It
out?
was supposed to last the whole time.
Like, I'm just supposed to swipe. I'm supposed to be able to walk in here and eat. So I think like kind of being away from your parents and not being able to like go home and know like dinner's gonna be ready, kind of thing. That was a harder transition. Going from freshman year to sophomore year, moving off campus and realize rent is real.
Yeah.
Like
For real.
yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like rent is real. Like someone's coming for that $800 a month, that
Or else.
$900. It doesn't matter. Like if you can't pay, you can't live there. So now it's like, dang, like my mom's either got to help me or I got to figure out how to get a job and get paid so I can pay my rent. So I think the bills, that was a hard transition. Like meal plan and bills was the hardest transition.
And honestly, first of all, 100% true. And how would you say that shaped you to becoming the young man you are and the young man you continue to become? What about that transition and that, upholding that responsibility helped you instead of just running away from, like you said, you rolled with some things, you adjusted and adapted?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's helped me in a major way just because now that I look back on like the kid I was freshman year, sophomore year, I'm like, okay, like he was figuring it out. I've now figured those things out, and when it comes time, like before the semester even starts, I figured out how my rent's gonna be paid for the first for that 5 months.
Awesome.
Like I don't go into the semester anymore like wondering like, all right, how much do I have to work this week? Like over the summer, the winter when we go home, I work. So like I know that when I'm coming back, like my rent is covered. Like what's nice is I'm real cool. My landlord, I pay all my rent before the semester even starts. So it's like it's kind of like
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's like like when you're in the dorm, like they take that big chunk right before the semester starts. That's how I am with the landlord. So I'm just like I think that has like helped me a lot because now I'm like I feel like I'm way ahead of where I was.
Oh yeah.
Why don't we transition a little bit and talk about more about your football career? I mean, we always see each other in the locker room, or we're walking past each other down at South Campus, and we see each other in the weight room. So why don't you tell us, what position do you play, how long you've been playing football for, and what's your favorite part about just being on the football team here at Westchester?
So I play wide receiver. I've been playing since 7th grade or 8th grade in middle school. I started late. My parents didn't let me play when I was younger. They had this whole fear of like concussions and everything. So I've been playing since 7th grade. I love the team here. My favorite part about being on the team has to just be like the brotherhood. When I came in, when I first joined when I first like got to Westchester, I would say the team was a lot more cliquey. Could be due to COVID, I'm not sure. But I think in like my 2nd and 3rd year being here, I've really been able to like bring the team together. And I think like how close we are as a team now is probably my favorite part. Going out, like working hard and everything, and then just being able to like celebrate all together as a unit. Yeah, it just feels like you get another family from like home. So it's nice.
And what about that team aspect helps because when it comes to college and college teams, you may have friends, we may have friends that go to different schools, and it's more of a competition. Of course, everything is a competition, but what makes it healthy? And you know what, bro, we're gonna compete in this practice, but at the end of the day, we're chasing the same goal and we're gonna accomplish it together. Not trying to single that one person out.
Right. So I feel like when we go to practice for our team at least, there's scout team and then there's the guys that are going on game day or like the rotational players. And when I first came in, and I was on scout. It was me, guy Shiz, Troy, Jameer, Matt, and we would go 110 every chance we got against because scout team goes against the #1 defense, right? So as a younger guy, it's my opportunity to show the coach that I can play with these dudes, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like for us, we would go at them every chance we got, and they would they give the same energy back. And sometimes you could definitely see them being annoyed, why are you trying so hard right now? But then game day comes around and they play a team. They're like, our scout guys are way better than these receivers that we're going against now. So I feel like it's kind of like it's like a bittersweet thing where it's like they're like the defense guys are thinking, they're working us now, but come game day, they're better than the guys we're going against. So it's like we've prepared them, and I think for us, we just know that coach has seen it.
Yeah.
So it's like an opportunity to get recognized and get that playing time that you want.
That's most important.
So I know you're also on the track team as well. How is it like being a dual sport collegiate athlete? I mean, that's very impressive, and
Can't be easy.
That's probably in the top 1% of all college athletes. So
Yeah. Oh, dude. Being a dual sport athlete is as hard as you make it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, I try to get my stuff done as soon as possible. I'm on top of that because I know like if I delay my schoolwork, it'll interfere with something with football or something with track. And the last thing I want to tell my football or track coach is, hey, like I can't be here. I got to catch up on this homework, because as much as they have to respect that, that gets in the way. And being a dual sport athlete is not easy, but I think if you have the time management and you can just be on top of yourself and have that military-like discipline, it makes it a lot easier. It's definitely not easy on the body, but I got into a lot of like active recovery stuff. I started doing a lot more research on the body and just trying to figure out how to take care of it. And I think that's made it a lot easier for me. But I think the joy that it brings me outweighs any like stress or pain that goes to the body. Like knowing that I get to do these two sports that I absolutely love.
That's the mind of an athlete right there. Absolutely.
yeah, I mean that's complete major respect for doing two sports. And what else do you do with your college time? Are you a part of any clubs or any extracurricular activities on top of being a dual sport athlete?
Yeah, so on top of being a dual sport athlete, I am a member of a fraternity here on campus. I am in SIGAF. I'm on the exec board, so I play a big role inside the fraternity. Outside of that, I have a photography business that I've kind of like dove into and invested in.
Yeah.
So those are the things I do outside of my sports.
Why don't you tell us more about your photography business? I know we chatted a while ago, maybe about a week ago, and we talked a lot about it. But why don't you tell the audience more? What exactly is your photography business? Like, what kind of aspects do you do? What kind of clients do you shoot with, and stuff like that? How do you also get started?
Okay, yeah. So I'll tell you how I got started. So in last summer, not this summer, 2 years ago, I had volunteered for a football university football camp, and they were traveling up from Florida to host a camp here at the Hill School in PA. And they were like, "Yeah, man, like you could be our VP of operations." And I'm like, "This is amazing. This would be great for my coaching background, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So I volunteer, and I get there, and they call me, and like, yeah, like they're like, "Can you get here 5 a.m.?" They call me the night before, and I'm like, camp don't start till 8. Yeah, I'll get there 5 a.m. I'm like, whatever. I already committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there 5 a.m. and come to find out VP of operations means you set up all the fields, you make all the ice, like you bring out all the shirts, you organize all the shirts, you hand out
one person doing all that.
One person. I think it was a trick because no one wanted to do it.
Yeah,
but I handed out all the jerseys, all the drinks, the food, the sandwiches. I set up 2 football fields. I put up Gatorade banners. I set the bleachers up. I was like, dang.
Wow.
I thought I was doing something real. I volunteered, dude. I was like, yo.
You weren't even getting paid for this.
No.
Wow.
Wow.
So, mind you, I was there from 5 a.m. The camp didn't end until around 7 p.m., right? And it's June. It's June, so it's hot.
It's summer, too.
Yeah, it was June 4th, to be exact.
Wow.
No kidding. It was so hot outside. And it was maybe 3 o'clock. And I was like, yo, I'm done. It was when they were like, yo, Junior, can you unpack that truck? And there's these huge boxes, and I was like, yo, I've been here since 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's 3 p.m., dude. Every coach here is getting paid $500.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, I can't. I don't know, man. I love working with kids, but I ain't worked with one kid yet. All I did was hand out shirts. It was insane. And as I was telling this guy Andre, I was like, yo, man, I gotta go. I can't. I'm so sorry. This is not what I thought I signed up for. I thought I'd be helping coach. And he was like, can you do media operations? I was like, dude, I have never done anything with a camera ever. like, you want me to use my phone? And he was like, no, I got a camera. I'll set you up. All you got to do is point and shoot. He hands me this camera, Canon T7i. It was my first camera after he handed me it. And he was just like, point and shoot. I put it in sport mode. I was like, all right, great.
Yeah.
I go around, I'm pointing and shooting. I'm like, actually like looking at these photos. I'm like, yo, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Camera's doing all the work right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's not bad at all. And someone's mom comes up to me. She's like, how can I get those photos? And I was like, I don't know. So I go back and I ask him, and he was like, why don't you sell them? You know, and he like breaks this like chart down. He writes it down. He was like, yeah, like you can do a package like 10 photos for $20, right? And he's like, all right, cool. So I go to her and I tell her like, yeah, like you can purchase these photos. And she's like, who do I pay? I go back to him and I'm like, yo, like, who do they pay? He's like, you. It's your money. You're the one doing the labor. And I was like, dude, all right, you know, I thought I volunteered. So I go out and I'm taking pictures. This mom pays me. And the family comes over. He's like, yeah, that's my son. Like, so I can take a picture of him. Like, can I pay you for his photos? I'm like, yeah. He's like, no problem. I come out with $430 that day. It was like,
wow.
Yeah, 430 some change. And I'm like, dude, that was insane. Like, and I delivered all the photos same day. Just like popped them into the SD card, popped it in my laptop, and just moved it around. And I'm like, wow, I made $430 in one day by accident.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna leave. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. So my grandma, she was like, you know what? I'll invest $430 in you. I'll double what you made today, and let's go buy you a camera. She bought me a camera, and I kind of like just told myself like someone believed in me, so I had to make it work. And every weekend that summer, I like got booked for like a little gig for my friends, whether it was like someone's birthday party or like a show. Like my buddy bodybuilds. I did his bodybuilding show. I made some good money there. I kind of just rolled with it, and it just kept picking up. And then football season came around, so I put it away. And then I got a concussion. And me being dumb, I just wanted to do something, so I picked up my camera with my concussion. And I think it made my concussion last longer because I'm like staring. I'm staring into like a little viewfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at a laptop, giving myself a headache trying to edit photos. And so the longer I was out, the more pictures I was taking. And so
kind of like a double-edged sword to that.
Yeah, you know. And but I ended up coming back from my concussion. I put the camera away till after the season, and suddenly like I was watching YouTube videos all day, like whenever I had the time, just trying to figure out how to get better at it. And my uncle saw one of my photos and gave me a little talk, and he was like, "Dude, you need to just like invest in yourself, so that you can push yourself to do more." Because he kept telling me that's how I operate. Like, you know, if I invest in myself and I spend the time, I'm not gonna let myself fail. So I bought an $800 camera lens. That was my investment. It was like a birthday gift to myself, and I just got the ball rolling. And I started taking a lot of family portrait photos, people portraits, engagements, graduation stuff. So I went from I started in sports, and I shifted very quickly from sports to people. It's easier to work with people than it is sports, in my opinion. And I just love capturing moments that will last forever. Like, if I take a picture of somebody running down the field, he'll show it off for a couple of years. If I take a picture of someone getting engaged or proposed to, that picture's gonna stay with them forever. So like that's the kind of photography I really enjoy doing. So yeah, that's how I got there.
So how did you really start, building up that clientele? Was it more word of like spread of mouth? Was it, were you posting on Instagram or creating a portfolio or something like that?
Yeah. So sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it started with me just kind of like taking pictures, doing free shoots, and then posting it and tagging me. And I was like, I need a photography page. So I made a photography page. I started doing that, and I drive Uber on the side. And, I would talk to people about it because it's on my Uber profile. And some guy one day was just like, you should do a Fiverr. It's like freelance, like photography for hire. And I was like, all right, cool. So I joined this app called Fiverr. I started just getting people booking me on there. And that's where it was like, I was getting clientele reach from Fiverr. Word of mouth, people were coming to me. And then I just made an Instagram post about a graduation special. And I started with some of my teammates. I told my teammates, I was like, yo, like, for $25, I'll take your grad pics. I did someone's grad pictures, and they turned out really good. I don't know how. I actually wasn't very familiar with the manual mode controls at this point. But he posted them and tagged me, and immediately people were like, "Yo, can you book me for can I book you for grad shoots?" And $25 turned into $35, and people were tipping me $50. $100, and next thing I know, I'm charging only $25 for a shoot. I'm making $80 for it because I'm so much cheaper than this other person that's charging $300 for this grad shoot that I just did for $25. And from there, I just kind of like I created a stable business module where my price point wasn't like taking away from like my cost of doing business. It all kind of fares out, and now I've got like a steady clientele. I'd say, like I get reached out to maybe 2-3 times a week for bookings down the line. So that's just kind of how I did it, word of mouth. You know, just people posting my work and tagging me, and people have just seen it. So
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, just the transition from you, even going back to the start of the conversation, going from high school doing sports and always doing something extra, it seems as if all those experiences and things you've done combined and made you be able to tolerate a lot of things, but not only tolerate them, but it put good, consistent action towards it. So, with that being said, fraternity, football, track, photography, those are a lot of things, like Tom said, that's in the top 0.001% of doing all those things, right? And it's something you should absolutely be proud of. What would you say that some lessons you have learned just from all those things you've accumulated over your lifetime that you could share and recommend to just others?
yeah, they're a big one. Be undeniable. Be undeniable. If you pitch something to somebody and they don't know who you are, they have no reason to believe in you. Of course, they're gonna say no. If you just tell yourself like be undeniable, I drilled that in my head. I like if I wake up and I say I want to buy a car from like build it from scratch. I understand it might take me a year, it might take me a year and a half, but I'm gonna do it. Even if someone's like, I don't know how realistic that is. If I believe I can do it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like I've drilled that in my head. I know that this world works with confidence. I don't know, like I the type of person not to email someone. I'd rather call them.
Yeah.
Because like you email someone, it gives them time to like look at it like, nah, I don't know.
But you find out right away with that call.
Yeah, you call them and you're like, hey, like I need this done. Like how fast can we get this done? What do we need to do to get this done? They've got to give you an answer. You know what I mean? They don't have time to look over and strategize and say like, how can I let them down? Easy. It's at that moment, it's got to be yes or no. And a lot of people are scared to say no. Ask them straight up.
Yeah.
So I think for me, with everything I do in life, the biggest piece of advice I can give is be undeniable. Just be consistent and be undeniable. Because everyone's looking for a way out of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Junior, you mentioned the skill of being undeniable, and that sticks out to me because especially since after COVID, we've realized a drop in confidence, just self-belief, and all those different types of things. My question is, why do you believe, or why do you think that maybe most people, let's say within our environment of Westchester, aren't having that belief in themselves, aren't that confident? What is it that they don't realize that when you do on the other side of that, you reap all the benefits like you have done?
I think, I'll be honest with you, I really think that like a lot of people took a punch during COVID and now they're like kind of scared to get up and go after what they wanted to do before COVID, just because they saw like the world kind of like stop and everyone was so scared. I feel like if people were to have the same ambition or picked up the same ambition that they had prior to COVID right now, it would do so much better. But I feel like because of COVID, so many people saw their dreams just like not even get taken from them, but be shown how it can be taken from them. You know what I mean? A lot of jobs were altered or kind of like just like shown how not important they were due to COVID. And so now I feel like a lot of people have shifted into trying to do whatever seems like sustainable rather than what they really want to do. People are really shifting towards like, what can I do in this world that I'll be able to continue doing, God forbid another pandemic happens.
Sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how fast time goes. I mean, it feels like only yesterday we were down at South Campus, sledding down the snowy hill and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. We're going to be we are seniors, and we're going to be in the real world very shortly. As you were saying over COVID, you're right. People and jobs, they're not as important, especially with remote workers and stuff. AI is increasing so quickly, it will wipe out 50% of workforces. And you already see most companies are already trimming back. And you have to adapt and just continue to, use all the information and technology as we keep growing and coming out of college. So I want to ask you this, you're a great student athlete. Once we graduate, we don't longer identify as, athletes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be doing it part-time or just for fun, but it's not going to be a thing we're going to be doing every single day on that grind.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to kind of transition from being a student athlete to then being in the real world, working a job, ideally, wherever you want to be at, and just what does that kind of look like for you?
Oh man, honestly, so I've actually been preparing for this. I understand that only so many college athletes make it to the pros, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you go from like being like a Division 1 prospect, let's say, to being a Division 2 prospect, that cuts your chances like half. And, and then you get all the other guys there's some really good players here. I'll admit there's some players better. There's players way better than me. Mm-hmm. So for me, like coming in, I think my freshman year, my eyes were open. Like, okay, I was really good in high school. Now I'm good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So ideally for me, I want to be a teacher, a phys ed teacher. So I want to stay in the fitness world. I want to coach because it kind of goes hand in hand. So I feel like I'll never really leave the sport. I know I won't be doing it anymore, but I'll never leave it. Like I'll never kind of like just take myself out of the sports world. So I'll always have some involvement with sports, which will keep me happy and keep me in that same realm. And I want to have my photography business for my summers. Just because as a teacher, you don't work summers, and that's like the wedding season. Like I said, my favorite thing is to capture moments that'll last forever. So if I can be a teacher, a coach, and then take pictures all summer long, and maybe even vacation with my family, I'll be the happiest man. I won't need to catch any more footballs. I'll throw them to kids.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that sounds like a great plan. You're a great guy. You've got a lot of different things going on. It's impressive how you manage all of that, especially with how limited time is.
Yeah.
And I've really just enjoyed this entire conversation, just kind of to learn more about you and just what your goals and dreams are. And I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. Again, Junior, we thank you for your time. We thank you for just being our first guest on this podcast, which is something we've been looking forward to and planning because, I'm sure you guys have heard enough of our voices each time, right? It's about time we switch it up. So we want to have, and we will continue to have people who are like-minded, that have goals, that they like to be ambitious and consistent in things they're doing. So again, to reiterate, we thank you for that. And guys, please, again, comment, like, support, whatever the case may be, because we appreciate all of it. And we certainly learned a lot of things, and I'm sure you guys will too. And is there anything you would like to say before we go, Junior?
Thank you guys for having me. Kind of dope, yeah. This is a nice experience for real.
Don't worry. I mean, take a look in the description. All of Junior's social media, his photography business, everything will be included in there. So definitely check it out. And we just really appreciate you coming out, taking the time out of your day, and just having a nice conversation.
I appreciate that, guys.